Hi, I'm Jessica Ann Pressler, licensed clinical social worker, coming to you from the West Coast. Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Jessica. And I'm Sylvia Puentes, registered nurse and faith-based coach and mentor. If you enjoy our video content, please hit the subscribe button.
It's wonderful seeing you.
It's wonderful seeing you.
Welcome back from your vacation.
Yes, thank you. I had a great time, but glad to be back. So today we're continuing our conversation on narcissistic terms.
Hmm. That's right. And we are going to speak today about future faking, hoovering, and gray rock.
Okay, all right. So, how about we start with future faking? What can you tell us about future faking?
So, future faking is very much how it sounds. But when we're dealing with a narcissist, it's when the narcissist will speak about the future, uh, but a future that will never really come to fruition. So, let's just say during the love bombing stage, when early on, they're going to, they're all coming at you with, I love you. I've never felt this way before, all that. But they're also saying things like, I can imagine one day that we buy a house in, oh, I don't know, Tennessee, and we're going to have a farm, and we're going to, and on and on and on and on and on. And you're going to, be in la land and be drawn in by that. Or it can happen in during the relationship when maybe you're feeling not so secure anymore, and you're together for 5 years and you're not engaged, and then all of a sudden they're going to say, I'm ready now for marriage. Or it may happen after you try to leave the narcissist, and they come to you and they say, I finally realized how much I love you. Come back because we're going to get married, and have no intention to follow through with any of those things.
Yeah. Wow. Do you think that they are aware that they have no intentions, or are they not aware that they have no intentions?
Well, I think during the love bombing stage, they're being fed this narcissistic supply. So it's very possible that at that moment, they're really feeling that they want to be that person. They're getting the attention that they thrive on, and the accolades, and they're, it's feeding right into their narcissics, into their ego, into their narcissistic supply. I'm not so sure at that very second that they understand it, but I'm sure that they do get it pretty quickly after, and they're not telling their partner, if it's a romantic relationship, they're not telling their partner that they now realize that they jumped ahead, or they don't want it. And then I think there's other times where they are completely manipulating the other person, particularly when they're trying to get them back, or they're in the relationship and they may feel they're kind of slipping away. I absolutely think they know what they're doing.
Hmm, okay. How about gray rock?
So, gray rock is a technique that the victim of a narcissist can use. So, I've always said, or we've agreed, that when dealing with a narcissist, particularly a malignant narcissist, or someone who's really high on the spectrum of narcissism, that the best thing you can do is go complete no contact. You get away, you put up boundaries, and you never speak to that person again. But that's not always possible. And we've spoken about that before. And it's not always possible in a family situation, a work situation, and even romantic situations, particularly if you have children together. So, or have to stay in the relationship for reasons too. So this, what I'm about to say, is can occur during a relationship or after, but it's kind of going partial no contact. So you want to become not their narcissistic supply anymore. So you become boring. You don't feed into the drama when they try to entice you to get into a fight, which is part of their narcissistic supply. You don't engage. It's just no engagement. You don't show emotion. Everything is quick answers. You talk about logistics, but you don't get into the emotional dance that you have done before. And the hope is that eventually they will drift away. I mean, the end result, ideally, as much as it may be hurtful during this, is to get them to disengage completely, but do so in a way that may be safer than, because sometimes when you actually leave a narcissist, the revenge and the flying monkeys and all the stuff that they bring to, can be very damaging, abusive. So but know that even when it's helping them think that they're the ones that are letting you go. Or
Right. So this would be if somebody were in a situation where they felt that a clean break wouldn't be the safest way to leave the relationship, they would do this.
and if it's hard for them to end it too, yes, agree with 100% what you said. And also, or it's someone that wants to stay in the relationship or not ready to leave the relationship, but wants to make it a safer place for them. I mean, you can maintain that as well.
I can't imagine.
I agree. It's not the relationship I would want to be in, for sure.
Yeah, it seems
But
equally as mentally and emotionally exhausting as engaging, perhaps.
but the one thing about Grey Rock is that you're doing this on purpose. So if anything, you're a little bit manipulative to survive,
And
but
also, you might be also taking back some control, apparently, seemingly.
that's right. No, but that's right.
Yeah. How about hoovering?
Hoovering is like the Hoover vacuum. It's when a narcissist wants to suck you back in. So this can happen after, let's just say you do disengage, either by doing Grey Rock, partial disengagement, or you actually leave and they want you back. So there are many examples that someone could do. They could, let's just say you break up, it's romantic. You break up with somebody and then a month later you get this text out of nowhere acting like nothing happened, just saying, hello, how would you like to go out this weekend? And just like gaslighting you, like nothing happened. Or you get a text saying, I just went into our favorite pizzeria thinking of you. Or they contact you and they do some future faking where they say, I have been doing, and lying, I've been doing a lot of work in therapy. I'm a changed person. Let's get married. Now I'm ready to get married. Finally, I know you've waited 5 years. I'm finally ready. Or I just found your panties in the top drawer, and shall I send it to you? Want me to drop it off? It's just a connection. It's a way of bringing someone back.
Right.
Even if they don't want them, it could be just so they know you're out there.
Right. Just so that you once again start feeding their need.
So everything goes to the narcissistic supply. So one other thing they do, we've spoken about flying monkeys before, is they will they can also contact a family member or a friend and say, how sad they are that so-and-so, that you left them. And then that person could call you and start. And the other thing they can do, we talked about flying monkeys before, is they could say terrible things about you to other people. And then you hear about it, and just having you engage, let's say then you call them up and say, how could you lie about me or say these things? And that's supply for them, because they just want the drama. They want the attention. It doesn't always have to be positive. So hoovering could even be that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's so important to know these things because again, it just, education is key, or knowledge is key.
Mm-hmm.
And just helps the person in the relationship with the narcissist really understand what's going on and how to see these red flags, identify them, and then decide what they want to do about it.
Right. And if someone, let's just say meet someone, so you have, hopefully through what we're doing and what everyone's doing out there, you can see a narcissist before you can even get emotionally involved. You can, as far as Grey Rocking, you can Grey Rock them in the beginning so that you don't have a connection with them.
Right.
Right. There's things to do with knowledge, with understanding what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Do you think that sometimes Grey Rocking can work as a challenge to them and actually make it so that they want to get that attention from you?
Oh, absolutely. So you have to be prepared. Anything you do to pull away, when you see that, they'll come towards you. So absolutely. So you have to stand strong, because they're just going to want to be pulling you back in. It's work. It's not an easy thing to do to Grey Rock, especially if you're emotionally, connected to them. It's
Right.
very difficult. It's very difficult to walk away. But with the support of friends, hopefully, and a therapist or other people, you can do this. It's just again, I'll say before, it's ideal to have no contact, but it's a way of dealing with a narcissist and their abuse, and not have to make the full, you know,
Yeah. And this is also important why, and this also shows why it's important to have that community or the support from a friend or a therapist, or so that there's that person from the outside looking in and helping you process all of this.
right. Who can be
Yeah.
objective, because you're not objective during it at all.
Right. Right. Yeah, because it can get very convoluted. I
Right.
know that I know that in having been in a relationship with narcissists, it can be very convoluted, and you sometimes lose kind of like what is going on here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So,
And we talked about last time we were speaking about how exhausting it is to deal
right.
with all their tactics. I mean, they're
Yeah.
working hard and you're like just trying to survive,
Yeah.
and they're throwing this at you. And so hoovering occurs after you finally made that split many times, and you think you're like getting healthy and you're trying to do this, and even the strongest of strong, even with the knowledge, because you want them to love you. You want them to talk about marriage. They know your vulnerabilities. Let's just say one of your vulnerabilities is feeling guilty. You don't want to hurt them, and they're telling you how much you hurt them and you want to make them better. I mean, they know who you are, especially if you were in a long-term relationship
Right.
or family relationship too.
Yeah.
You try to, you think they can bring you back in. Or like you said, so I said the flying monkey. So let's just say you have a narcissistic mother who's very abusive, and you finally say, I'm done. I can't talk to her anymore. I can't let her abuse me and my kids and my family, whatever it is. And then you have your brother calling you on the phone and saying, how could you do this to your mother? How could you do this to us? How could you leave me and be here, the one, and all that. And that's hoovering too, by
Yeah.
proxy.
Right. Well, um, next week we'll upload another video with more terms. And again, if you guys are enjoying our content, please hit the subscribe button. And we're just happy to be bringing this information forward.
Bye, Sylvia. And thank you so much for everything.
Bye, Jessica. Love you.
You too.